Was I wrong about the new BMW M5? It has mega performance, but the added weight of the hybrid system does count against it. To find out if I've changed my opinion on the new M5, I'm going to compare it to the Mercedes-AMG GT63, which I love, and the Audi RS7 Performance, which I also love, and actually ran one as a daily for 6 months. To find out which of these cars is best, I'm going to compare their performance. Oh, it's an absolute monster. See how loud they are? Behave like a hooligan. Oh, went into the bush almost. And conduct a series of scientific tests. Not this though. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. Let's start off this video by comparing these cars' performance. So the Audi RS7 Performance has a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 with 630 horsepower and 850 Newton meters of torque, driving all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox. The Mercedes-AMG GT63 has a 4-litre twin-turbo V8, but with 639 horsepower and 900 Newton meters of torque, driving all four wheels via a 9-speed automatic gearbox. Then we have the BMW M5. It has a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8, but it's boosted by an electric motor, and combined you have 727 horsepower and 1000 Newton meters of torque, driving all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox. So how do these cars compare? Well, I've already drag raced the M5 against the RS6 and an AMG GT, and this happened.
3, 2, 1.
But now I want to be more scientific. To test their traction, I'm going to measure their 0 to 60 times and how quickly they cover 10 meters from a standstill. And to test their outright speed, I'll also measure their quarter-mile time and how quickly they can accelerate from 100 to 200 kilometers an hour. I'm going to run each car in the same lane, in the same conditions, and obviously we've got the same driver here, so we have some consistency. I'm going to start off with the Mercedes. Fairly decent launch. Come on. That wasn't bad launch. Awful noise from there. I think one of the seals must have gone from around there. That actually wasn't as quick as I thought. Maybe it's because this car isn't brand new. Now for the Audi. That felt quicker than the Merc. Oof. Finally then, the BMW. That struggled off the line. Same conditions, same driver, same track. So the Audi was the quickest over the first 10 meters, and it was the quickest to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour. However, the BMW had the quickest quarter-mile time, and it was a whole second quicker from 100 to 200 kilometers per hour than the Audi, which was the next quickest car. But launching from a standstill isn't where the hybrid really shines, and it doesn't show the true benefit of the system. So it's time for some real-world tests. So we're going to do some rolling races over a quarter mile. Now, the first one we're going to do is with the cars just in comfort mode, automatic mode for the gearbox. You know how most people just drive these things around. And we're going to go to 30 miles an hour, and then I'm going to call it in, and we're going to see how quickly the cars go over the quarter mile. 3, 2, 1, go. I mean, that is otherworldly. Audi did well, but from going to being in comfort mode, just pootling along at 30, to just wanting to overtake something. Wow. This is going to be the clearest test because what we're going to do is a roll on from 30 mile an hour in third gear for sporty settings. 3, 2, 1, go. Look at that. I mean, whoa. You can't deny the performance, and that's real world performance, not drag racing, but actual real world roll-on performance. It destroyed the other cars. But sometimes you want your car to do something you won't actually use, which brings us on to the next test. Right, let's see how easy it is to do a donut in these cars. I'm going to start with the BMW, and I can put it into two-wheel drive mode. Pretty easy. That was easy. You can just hold it. I don't think you'll be able to do it for long because of the weight. It'll just chew through its tyres, but it did what a BMW should do. As with the BMW, the AMG has a drift mode, so I'll just pull up on both pedals, confirm that I want drift mode, and now it's rear-wheel drive. You sense that it hasn't got quite so much weight to deal with. This car, this ain't going to be pretty. No ability to put the car into rear-wheel drive mode in this Audi, so let's see how rear biased the four-wheel drive system is. Oh, went into the bush almost. You can't control it. One last go. It's like, what are you trying to do to me? I'm a blooming Audi. You're not supposed to try and drift me. Kind of get in there a bit. It's horrible. No, it's all horrible. I've had enough. I don't like it. I don't like it. I feel sick. It's not meant to do that. That wasn't really relevant. So let's move on to an emotional part of these cars, which really does matter. So we're going to compare the sound they make under different conditions, and then I want you to decide which you think sounds the best. Personally, I like the sound of the AMG the best, but what about you? Let us know in the comments. But you don't always want your super saloon to be loud. They also need to be quiet and comfortable cruisers. So I'm going to use a sound meter to test how quiet they are while cruising at 70 miles an hour. And I'll test which is the most comfortable using a vibrometer. We're going to start the run just now. Okay, got it. Minimum is 78 decibels, maximum 84, the average 81.7. Now for the vibration levels, well, I'm going to put the phone in between my legs. So a max of 6.9, but an average of 4.8. The key number is the one at the top there. Now for the Audi. So we've got a min of 78, a max of 83, and an average of 81.3. So ever so slightly quieter than the AMG. Now for the vibration test. Okay, so we've got a max of 6 and an average of 4.6. Slightly comfier than the AMG as well. Finally, it's time for the BMW. We have a result. Interesting. Minimum 79, maximum 84, average 81.4. I could tell it with my ears. This isn't quite as quiet as the Audi, though it is quieter than the AMG. Now for the vibration test. So the maximum of 6.4 was better than the Mercedes, but worse than the Audi. But the mean of 5 was worse than both of the cars. So this vibrated the most. Wonder if that has something to do with its weight. To be fair though, all these cars are heavy. The M5 can't weigh that much more than its competitors, can it? Well, I brought these scales to weigh all three, and the results are interesting. So the AMG was the lightest, weighing 2,140 kilograms. The Audi was next at 2,165 kilograms, and the BMW was by far the heaviest at 2,416 kilograms. That's 20% heavier than the old BMW M5 competition. But this new model isn't just much heavier than its predecessor, it's also a lot bigger. Now, none of them are small, but when you line them up, you can see that the Audi looks the smallest, then the Mercedes, then the BMW is absolutely massive. It's more like a 7 Series than a 5 Series. Not only does the M5 look the biggest, it also looks the most awkward, with all the different shapes and creases and stuff. I must admit, I am partial to the illuminated grille. The AMG, on the other hand, manages to look both aggressive and elegant at the same time. I've always loved the look of this car. My favourite looking car though is this, the RS7. It's just got the right shape, the right proportions and the right design elements. Good work, Audi. I like the interior of the Audi the best too. The design's simple and classy, materials feel expensive. The only thing I'm not so keen on are the seats. They could be a bit more body hugging, but they're still comfy. I like the new graphics on the digital driver's display with the white dials. I just wish it had a more modern infotainment system, though to be fair, you're just going to run Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. The Mercedes does feel sportier inside than the Audi. I like the dial designs, but in places it just feels a little bit cheap and chintzy. It's a shame really. Also, this one is a used vehicle. It's been lent to us by Redline Specialist Cars, so you can check them out if you're interested in it. So I have noticed that the centre marker on this one is like worn. I think whoever owned this before must have done a lot of driving like that. Classic Mercedes owner. The M5 does feel better built than the Mercedes, but not quite as well built as the previous generation M5. Part of the reason is that you used to get leather on the dash before, now it's like leatherette. One of the things that annoys me is that, well, I really like this screen, the definition and the graphics are really sharp. It's so confusing and you have to do so many things through that screen. For instance, if you want to operate or change the seats, you have to press a button on there, then you mess around in the menu. Same with the lights and so many different things as well. However, what I do like is the ambient lighting, especially with like the M colours here. It's quite cool. And I have to say, out of all the cars here, these are my favourite seats. They're comfy, but they also hug you just the right amount. Being practical family cars is really important for these kind of vehicles. And the AMG GT63 is not the best in the back. For starters, it's just a two-seater here in the rear. And while the seats look cool and feel sporty, they're not the most comfortable. Knee room's all right, headroom's okay. People over 6 foot will be able to cope, but there's not much space for your feet if the person in the front likes their seat low. The Audi feels more comfortable in the back seats, and you can sit 3 people back here. Plus you've got more knee room, there's more foot space. The only problem is that the sloping roofline does mean that headroom is tighter than in the AMG, so really tall people may struggle. Finally, the BMW. So you've got the knee room of the Audi and the foot space, in fact even more, but even more headroom than in the Mercedes. This is definitely the car that I'd rather go a long distance in the back of. The BMW's boot capacity is 466 litres, though the opening's not very large because it's a saloon. Thankfully, the AMG has a hatchback tailgate like that, so it's more practical, though it has slightly less boot space at 461 litres. Finally, we come to the Audi, which is the best of both worlds. We have hatchback tailgate and a large boot at 535 litres. Obviously, with the Audi and the BMW, you can get estate versions. One of the things that really impresses me about the BMW is that it's really competitive on price. In fact, it hasn't gone up much in price compared to the old car, despite the fact it's got way more horsepower and way more tech. How have they done that? Now, normally, if you have one of these cars as a company car, you'll absolutely get knackered by the taxman for company car tax. Look, this is the company car tax per year if you're a highest rate taxpayer on the Audi. This is what it is on the Mercedes. However, being a hybrid with pretty low emissions, this is how much you'll pay per year in company car tax to have the BMW. Genius. If you're changing your car, then you've got to check out CarWow, because there's nothing quite like knowing that you're getting a great price, both when selling your old car and finding a new one. CarWow makes all the stuff that's hard work about car changing, like the haggling, the no-shows, and the nasty surprises, a thing of the past, life-changing. Now, if you want to go to CarWow right now, I'll put a link in the description of this video and the pinned comment. Alternatively, you can click on the pop-out banner appearing in the top right-hand corner of the screen now, or scan the QR code on screen using your mobile phone to go directly there. Car change, CarWow. But what also matters with these cars is how they drive. They're supposed to be fun, right? Right, I'm going to start in the RS7. Now, in the past, in a group test between an M5 and an AMG and an Audi RS, the Audi RS it would come last in terms of driving dynamics, but things have changed recently. Audi's RS division they've figured out how to make fine handling, fun handling, not understeer crazy, high performance cars. I had one of these actually as a daily driver and I loved it. On the one hand, it can be really comfortable. You can forget how much performance it's got. And then when you press that RS button, getting into RS1 or 2, I mean, it's an absolute monster. Like that, I mean, in the past, an RS car would have just washed wide. But this one, the front end, woohoo! The steering feel, wee-hee-hee! I'm just going to describe the car with silly childish noises, because that's how it makes you feel. I mean, it really, a bit of understeer there, but you know, it's rotating even in the wet. What? I've got a feeling it's actually going to be the best in terms of handling. Right, the AMG. Ooh. Sounds more raw than the Audi. Straight away, I'm preferring the steering slightly in this. Ooh. Just has a bit more weight to it and feel. Speaking of weight, this car does feel heavier to drive than the Audi. So while the turning's really good, it doesn't have the same chuckability as the RS7. There's something about that car lets you just kind of throw caution to the wind and hurl it about. I am more conscious of the size and weight of this thing, but it's good though. Really good. Just the way it puts its power down, stays really flat through the turns, and the steering is just responsive. Nice. Right, M5, the beast, the big, heavy, yet powerful beast. First things first, the steering is the least good. It just feels the least natural of the cars I've driven. But that bit's good. And this car does want to slide around. I mean, it's really quite good. Can't believe actually what BMW's engineers have achieved with this car. I totally forget that it's a hybrid. The power delivery is so smooth and this craziness, but while it is kind of like a bit of a mental thing, wow, it's the most fun I think on a road like this, well, a closed road, where you can just slide it about. And there is something about the weight, you do just notice it. The way the car moves and it oversteers is great fun, but you don't want that on the road, and you do feel the bulk. So on a normal road, I'll be a bit more nervous of it than the other two cars. But wow, I've got to say, considering what BMW's engineers were up against in terms of the brief, you've got to build a hybrid because of emissions, blah, 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 blah. What a machine, and what a fantastic job they have done. I mean, well done. Do you know what? I take it back. My original review of this car, I said that it was just too heavy and blah, 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 blah. But actually, do you know what? Back to backing it with the other two cars, I had the most fun just driving this. So where does all this extensive testing leave us? At the beginning of the day, I'd have said that the Audi RS7 was the best car here, but I don't think that anymore. And it's not because I think the Mercedes is better, it's because I've actually changed my mind on the BMW M5. I'm not a big fan of hybrids, but what BMW has done with this car is really impressive. And yes, it is big and it is heavy, but you don't really notice it that much over the other cars. And its added versatility and the fact that you can have it as a company car and it won't break the bank, that's why it wins this test. I'm sorry, BMW, I called it wrong before. Please forgive me.